Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Happiness Through Self-Care Summit. I'm your host, Sherry Mills from Your Wellness Redefined. This subject we're discussing today is so important. Most of us don't care for ourselves as we should. We're either actively harsh on ourselves or we're indifferent to our own well-being. We push ourselves, beat ourselves up over mistakes, and lose sight of our value. We need to make it time to check in on ourselves and make sure that we're okay. You don't treat others this way. Why would you do that to yourself? Self-care is a way to look after yourself and really take the time to develop your relationship with yourself and others. Today, I have a wonderful panel to help you change your mindset, get back on track with healthy habits, clarity, and how to show up for yourself and others. Today, we have Margot Aerosmith with us. Margot is a therapist with 42 years of experience working with clients from the womb to the grave with severe mental illness, anxiety, depression, and everyday problems of life. She's currently working with a primarily older clientele. She has an extensive bag of tools, with cognitive behavioral being one of the most relevant to the problems that people have today. She was licensed in New York and currently is in North Carolina. She grew up in Iowa, lived in New Jersey for 25 years, and now happily calls North Carolina her home. She has one daughter, Sarah, and two grandchildren, Nico and Catalina, and two little dogs, Sander and Willow. Welcome, Margot.
Hi.
Next, we have Natalie Clark. She resides in Johannesburg, South Africa. She is an awakening guide, registered ethomedical and psychology practitioner practicing under the Traditional Healers Act in South Africa. Just Be Coaching Company is in Johannesburg, and she awakens you to the natural way to revolutionize your life and ignite your inner song so that you can transform your pain to power. She loves reading books on self-help, alternative health, healing therapies, the power of subconscious mind, natural tools like herbs, crystals, and essential oils, hypnotherapy techniques, homeopathic principles, and the art of cure. The two books that have had the most significant impact on her life are The Power Within by Louise Hay and Synchronodestiny. Did I say that right?
Synchrodestiny.
By Deepak Chopra. Her turbulent life experience and years of working with people, children, and animals on a nurturing basis means she can help you transform your pain to power by removing the cloak of toxicity that has been holding you back so you can live your best life as an individual and business owner in safety, freedom, peace, and prosperity. Welcome, Natalie.
Thank
Carolyn
you.
Cooper McQuaid resides in British Columbia.
It's McEwitt. It's
McEwitt. Sorry.
The O sounds like a Q. It's a very interesting one.
She resides in British Columbia, Canada. She was the captain of her cheerleading team in high school and continues her mission to lead by contributing to business owners around the globe as an advocate, mentor, cheerleader, and sounding board to support them to move and grow towards their grand potential. She has guided, taught, and mentored more than 6,000 businesses since 1992 and has held the purposeful, energized space as a professional motivational speaker and MC to thousands. Her commitment is always to be curious, open-minded, and intentional in life and business and go after her big dreams and visions. Carolyn feels honored and blessed to be the co-founder of the Grand Connection Global Virtual Edu Networking Community. Her true gift is the ability to inspire and generate a unique, refreshing, optimistic energy with genuine heart, and as a host and support global businesses to create grand connections that impact humanity in a significant way. And I can vouch for that. She is an amazing, dynamic leader.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next is Janine Lingenfelder. She resides also in Johannesburg, South Africa. So we got some distance going on here. She is a global virtual assistant, a wife, and mother to one daughter. Is also the dynamic founder of Jelani Sales, your virtual sales office. And what an engaging personality she has. Janine's qualifications and background include sales and marketing with courses like Cold Calling 101, social media marketing, business development for startups, all ready to her credit. She completed her VA Mastery certification in 2021 and is currently busy with her NLP certification as well as adding sales coaching to her portfolio. She completed her first book called The 7 Sweet Spots of Sales, and it will be released soon. As a business owner, Janine has been interviewed on various radio stations and was also a part of a podcast series with Empowerment Podcast, talking about sales and sharing tips for entrepreneurs. Janine is the co-host of the FBiz show that airs live on YouTube weekly. The FBiz show is a 30-minute show where fun gets connected with business, and they interview entrepreneurs to share their story with the world. She is also the founder of Explore Band, which is an online networking platform for virtual assistants. She is determined to build a global network for VAs that will revolutionize that industry. Welcome, Janine. She is
Thank
also
you.
our tech host tonight. So, Archie Hamilton comes from us all the way from Scotland. He is certified and holistic insured clinical hypnotherapist. He's a psychotherapist, holistic wellness specialist, certified hypnotherapist, hypnotherapy for confidence, phobias, and anxiety. Based in Scotland, he is a professional solution-focused hypnotherapist and helps guide people overcome conditions such as phobias, insomnia, or anxiety, and has an online hypnotherapy sessions. Archie has walked many paths in life to find his true calling as a certified and holistic clinical hypnotherapist. Although often misunderstood, hypnotherapy is a powerful tool against a large range of mental illnesses, including depression, anxiety, and phobias, as well as an effective source of focus and self-confidence. Since his certification from Leeds Trinity University in 2017, Archie has been on a mission to dispel the skepticism often associated with the up-and-coming science of hypnotherapy, one client at a time. He has helped hundreds of people in Scotland, and since the pandemic has included online services resulting in clients all around the world, which I can vouch for. He helped me as well. He's amazing. He has a gift for empathy and understanding, which combined with the science of hypnotherapy inspires greatness in his clients and enables them to defeat their insecurities and achieve true success. His philosophy is no one is broken. We have simply lost the instruction manuals to our own minds, and it is his passion to empower as many people as possible with the keys to unlock and realize their full potential. Welcome, Archie.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and last but not least, shall we not welcome Sherry Mills to the floor? Because after all, as the co-host of the summit, this is a beautiful brainchild that she came up with. And if it wasn't for this, we would not be here today. So I'm really excited to be sharing the platform with her. Functional nutrition coach, very exciting, dynamic individual, focused completely on nutrition, self-care, and living a healthy life. So it almost seems like a no-brainer that the summit should be headed up by her. So without further ado, I want to hand her over to Sherry.
Thank you very much, Natalie. So we're going to get started with the program. First up is going to be Margot Aerosmith. She's going to talk to us a little bit about CBT. Where are my questions? There we go. Where are my questions? I'm sorry, guys. I had them right here. Okay. Margot, can you explain to us what CBT is?
Yes, I can. And someone just closed the door, so my dog started barking, so I apologize. Before I do that, I want to give you a little nugget about what the brain does. We are all looking at a screen where we see solid pictures. However, our eyes do not see those solid pictures. Our eyes see spots. Our brain does not like the fact that our eyes see spots. So our brain fills it in and makes a solid picture. So that is how our brain controls our eyes. It's very powerful. It's very useful because it might be hard to, walk down the street if we didn't see a solid picture. It's very important. However, sometimes though the brain isn't great when it does that because it wants things to be simple. It wants us to go through life relatively easily. So it develops, and I'm going to read the definition. It's the last time I'll do this, but I'm going to read the definition here of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. It says, focuses on challenging and changing cognitive distortions such as thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes, and their associated behaviors to improve emotional regulation. Now, The problem again is this wonderful brain that makes us fills in pictures that our eyes can't see so that we can walk down the street without tripping all over the place. Also likes to have us kind of settle on things. Like maybe one day somebody told us that we were, I don't know, we were too loud and noisy and we needed to be quiet. And maybe you heard that quite a few times when you were a kid. So therefore, you believe that about yourself. So you might be sitting in a business meeting and thinking, oh, I have to be very, all right, if I say that, I have to be very quiet about it. So what cognitive therapy does is to challenge that and say, wait a minute, are you really that loud and noisy? Where did this idea come from? How about at the next meeting, we get you to try it a little differently to see if this terrible impression that you thought you were going to give really happens. So that's the basis of what cognitive therapy is. And that specifically for what we're dealing with people wanting to just be happier in their days, that's how we use it.
So how can that possibly be used in self-care?
Well, again, it's we don't have to challenge the nice things that we think about ourselves. So if we think, I enjoy getting 8 hours of sleep a night, we don't need to challenge that because certainly, Sherry, you understand that that's going to make us healthy and happy and we're going to have a better day. However, if our thought that is in our head is, oh my God, if I sleep more than 5 hours, I'm not going to have enough time to get everything done. And then you get all anxious and excited. That needs to be changed. So that's one example of many examples about how it can help us in self-care.
And is that different than therapy solutions?
Well, it's different and it's not different. I mean, obviously your therapist will do a lot of that. And if it's a really deep-seated thing, I mean, some people are really terrified to sleep more than 5 hours a night. So that might require therapy. But a lot of us just have this weird idea that if we sleep more than 5 hours a night, so we can kind of challenge ourselves. We can challenge our friends. We can look in a mirror and say, wait a minute, where did I get this idea? So it's kind of the intensity of your belief that you must not sleep more than 5 hours a night as the example. It's depending on whether or not we have therapy or whether or not we can work on it ourselves with a good self-help book. Or maybe a little counseling just a few times just to help us out a little bit.
So what are boundaries that apply to self-care with CBT?
Well, boundaries are probably the most important thing. They're the new buzzword. I'm sure, we all know that word now. And periodically, pop psychology has these words. Boundaries is the one that really is going to stick forever because you cannot have a good relationship without boundaries. If you want to find out more about them, by the way, go to YouTube, look for Brene Brown boundaries. She has the most wonderful videos on it. However, for our purposes today, I will give you my definition of boundaries, which is a boundary is where you begin and the other person ends, or where you end and the other person begins. And they need to be healthy. They have to be strong, but they also have to be fluid. For instance, even in a marriage, there are some things around which you do not share with your spouse because that is a personal boundary. When you're having sexual relations with your spouse, the boundaries, if they're not fairly loose, it's going to be a very difficult, experience. So, they can vary, but they need to be healthy, and we cannot care for ourselves. One of the things that I've heard that is so important is, for instance, it's impossible to have compassion for another person if your boundaries aren't healthy. Like if you're caretaking someone. And the way I say that is, if you feel like the person you're caretaking, whether it's an elderly parent or whether it's an employee that you're trying to coach, if you feel like they're like trying to swallow you alive, you're backing away and you're really not going to feel a lot of compassion. You may continue to think you're doing the job, but you're not going to have a lot of compassion. And that also goes for how you care for yourself. You really have to understand, I mean, it's kind of weird to think about having self boundaries, but again, it's like, wait a minute, I'm going into that where I have to be quiet again. That's where I've broken a healthy boundary. And then you don't have compassion for yourself because you're just sitting there telling yourself to shut up and be quiet. And that is not good self-care.
Yeah, so there's several things that we have to do. We have to create some boundaries so we don't lose ourselves as well, right?
Exactly. Very well said, Sherry.
So
Um,
how do
I
you,
go ahead.
when you're using it, when you're around other people, if you don't have those boundaries set up in your mindset, right, to protect yourself,
Right.
what are some of the things that you can run into, right?
Well, I'm going to give you an example of I want to give you an example of a person that I dealt with. Years ago, I wrote a book called You Can Keep Your Parents Home. And I was talking on the phone to the woman who edited the book. And she, oh, it's a good book and all this. And then she said to me, she says, my father was in an assisted living and he was very unhappy there. They lived in Manhattan, a big city in New York. But he was very unhappy there. So I got him out. I found him an apartment. And I'm like, wonderful, great. And then she says, but now she says, it just takes up so much of my time. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you just edited my book and I don't think you actually read it when you edited it. Because of course I'm very clear in there that you get other people to do the things that you don't want to do. That's how you can continue to have compassion for the person you're taking care of. But she was grocery shopping for him. She was doing this, she was doing that, she was doing the other thing. And so I said to her, well, why are you doing this? Well, he wants that. I said, so why didn't you hire somebody to do those things that take up so much of your precious time? Well, he doesn't like that. So I'm like, wait a minute, you did him this favor, you got him out of assisted living, and now he's taken over your life. You let that happen. So, first I want to put in a little plug for one of my bugaboos here. The only time the word but should ever be used is if you're talking about how comfortable you are sitting in your chair. Other than that, never use the word but. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to look at you, Sherry, and I'm going to say, Sherry, you usually look so good. You look so good today, but you should always wear your glasses because they really frame your face nice. Now, kind of what happened there, right? If I were to say, Sherry, you always look so good, and the way your glasses frame your face is really so beautiful. And I think everybody can understand how that felt different.
Oh,
okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So never use the word but. We got that, unless you're talking about sitting in your chair. Okay. So we got that straight. So one of the things she could have done is and I tried to help her do it, but but she had this preconceived notion that if she didn't do what her father said, she was being bad. So gets back to the cognitive therapy. So you can tell your dad, I love you. I got you out. I'm glad you're happy. And I'm happy to help you find people to do grocery shopping for you. And you have a choice. You can let me do that, or you can go back to assisted living. Because that's setting a boundary. You're not abandoning him. You're not saying, oh, you horrible man. But you're setting a boundary. This is what I can do. I got you out, and I would love to come visit you every Sunday for lunch. This is what I cannot do because I work, I have all this, I cannot do your grocery shopping and whatever else you want. So, and again, you can do that with employees, you can do that with teenage children, you can do that with your friends, and you can do it with yourself a little bit when you're trying to make sure that you get those 8 hours sleep as opposed to 5.
Very nice. That's true. I think we've all dealt with our elderly family where we had to make changes in their life and our life to make that worse. And you do. You can't just stop living to assume somebody else's life. You have to set that boundary. So What are some CBT techniques that we can all use in our daily life to keep us on track?
Well, one of the things that I recommend both to myself, my friends, and my patients that I see in my office is you really, one of the ways to challenge these preconceived notions that you're having such a hard time getting rid of is you take them to the point of absurdity. For example, and I read this in a book, this particular one, but it's my favorite. It's better than any example I can think of. The doctor had this man stand in front of a mirror and say over and over and over again, I will not be happy at work until my mother, who has been dead for 10 years, treats me better when I was 5 years old, which was what he thought. But the more often he said it and watching himself say it, he started to see the absurdity of that. And therefore, he was able to kind of laugh at it. Now, of course, you don't want to laugh at it to the point where you're ridiculing someone else or yourself. But sort of taking it to the logical extreme. Like one of the things I might ask people is, well, for instance, with the example I gave earlier, I can't possibly sleep more than 5 hours a night because I just won't get everything done. So I said, okay, so what's the worst thing that's going to happen if you get 8 hours sleep? And at first they'll say things and then, okay, all right, so you won't get the whole newspaper read. And I mean, that's not probably a very good example, but so what's that going to mean? And you just keep following it and following it and following it until and you don't, but you can't challenge, you can't be real, like what's going to happen if it's like, come on, let's just think about this. What's the worst that can happen? Until they finally are able to see, well, now wait a minute, that might not be all that bad. So that's a really good technique. And that's one also that people can do with themselves, or they can let their friends help them with it.
Okay, just like it's almost like creating a habit, a better habit.
Very much so. I mean, that's the behavioral part of the cognitive therapy. First, you need to realize that you need a new habit, because that's the first part is, for instance, I need to change the habit of only sleeping 5 hours a night to sleeping 8. So that's the cognitive part. You change that. And then the behavioral part is actually figuring out a way to do it and then discovering, oh, wait a minute, I am still getting done what needs to be done. Matter of fact, I might even be doing it better.
Right. Clarity. We all need clarity and focus, right? So, and changing our behavioral patterns is how we start to change how we live.
Exactly.
Right? How we view things and how we move forward to our future. So, thank you. I appreciate it. That was great.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Miss Natalie, and she's going to be talking about mindfulness, positive self-talk, and all sorts of good stuff.
Hi. So, shall I kick it off then? So basically,
yes,
if you
absolutely.
have a look at positive self-talk and gratitude and self-compassion, they're almost very well connected, that you cannot actually separate them if you look at how you structure your life and the different tools and techniques that you need to implement every day. When you look at positive self-talk, you really need to look really one step at a time at what you're thinking about every day. What's passing through your mind from when you open your eyes? Correction, from when you awake. You might not open your eyes straight away. You might lie there and think too. But what is it that you're processing? Are you processing worries? Are you scaring yourself? Sometimes we like to scare ourselves and think that something is going to happen that isn't. Worrying that you may be fired today because the boss looked at you funny yesterday. That's a really silly excuse. But anything can plant the seed for your mind to start churning on. So there are lots of different things that instigate negative self-talk and negative thought patterns in your mind. You may have an argument with your partner. What happens as you walk away? All the things that you really wanted to say to their face, but really knew you best not. Those things are running through your head and they repeat. So next fight, what happens when you walk away? Same thoughts go through your mind. And so you start building up almost a belief structure around your relationship based on your expectation of how your partner should show up, your expectation of how your children should show up, your expectation of how your teachers, your colleagues, your power partners, and all based on your own personal belief system within yourself and your own focus on what you're thinking about every day. You can build up a terrible nightmare for yourself if you focus on negative self-talk and judgmental comments on other people. If there's one thing I've been party to, the terrible consequences is gossip. I don't think there are many people that haven't experienced what happens when people are talking nonsense behind a door somewhere or within a community. It can destroy an entire community. Just one person's bad comment and how it can stretch, or somebody taking something the wrong way. So, positive self-talk stretches very far. It doesn't just stretch with what you're thinking about. It stretches with what you allow to come out your mouth. What do you allow to come out your mouth about yourself, for example? When you drop that egg by accident and it cracks and shatters across the floor and it's egg everywhere, do you say, oh, you stupid bee? Do you always do this? Blah, blah, blah. What are you doing? Building trust in yourself? No. You're persistently focusing on the fact that you are not good at something, that you're always making mistakes the same way, that you're always a butterfingers and drop things, etc. But if you look at that perspective, maybe from an outside, maybe you only drop something now and then. It's actually very rare. But because you keep saying those same words to yourself, to you, it looks like it's a regular occurrence that happens more than once every 4 months because you've created this world in your mind. And that world you create in your mind becomes your belief system. It's how you face the world. It's almost like the filters in your glasses. And everything you see, do, and think is all related to that filter that you have created in your mind. So positive self-talk and gratitude. The reason I say it's so closely intertwined is because if you are looking at people and your life from the perspective of, I am thankful for the fact that I have a bath to wash my clothes in, not sitting and looking at the fact that Jesus, 2 years down the line, I'm still washing my clothes in the bath. What a horror. So it becomes a heavy burden. And for some reason, sometimes you keep yourself there. But if you're looking at the fact that, yay, I have a bath. Wow, there's hot water to do it. Oh, I even have washing powder to do this. You start actually manifesting more in your life that is positive because your mindset is on the positive. And it's not that all of a sudden everything starts going right specifically. It's just you've recalibrated your eyesight. You're looking at things from the right perspective.
Which is
Just
so
a little
important.
tip.
So many times we all are so negative about ourselves, and it runs into our environment, and it runs into our lives and our business and the people that are around us. And when you don't flip that switch and take a different perspective on yourself and life, you don't realize it, but you're poisoning the environment around you and everybody else.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize it because this is just how you are now, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's really important to take that cognitive look at yourself and start really focusing on the brighter things.
Yes.
You know, if something's wrong here, turn around and say, but this is right, you know, and try to keep that positive attitude. It really makes a difference in how your day goes.
Yeah, or go back to the fake it till you make it. If you have to lie, because that actually leads right back into what I was going to say with regards to my tip on gratitude. You know, I went through a very difficult phase in the last year, and I'm just starting to come out the other side. My entire life took a good shake. I had to stop and learn how to be grateful for each and every little thing so that I could understand that even though I'd had all this terrible stuff happening around me, that the world wasn't actually that big nightmare that had happened, but that the world actually had lots of beautiful little things that I could focus on so I could start rebuilding my life one brick at a time. And as a result of using the right focus, I managed to do it. I blew my own mind at the end, but it took faking it in the beginning. I wrote myself a list. I started writing down what I was thankful for. So I started with the fact that I had a roof, then the fact that I had somewhere to sleep. Because when I kicked off my year, I had literally a bed and a fridge. I lie, I didn't have a fridge. That took about 2 months. So I didn't have those things. So what I did is I started slipping all of those things I didn't have into the list of what I did have. So when I read through my list every morning and every evening, I slowly started creating that gratitude for everything, and it started pulling those things I didn't have into my life. So now I have my own home. Now I have my car coming back. All of these things were slipped into what I had already. So it's a very powerful thing to put yourself in a space of gratitude, because that's the best place to manifest, create, build, and grow from. And that's the power charge. Absolutely. And that brings you right back to the last point, which is self-compassion. If you are going through a difficult period in your life, you know, we always hold ourselves accountable for being perfect, for showing up, for not showing people we're going through a terrible time. I mean, I went through these things, but I stepped onto the Zoom and I left it outside. Nobody knew what I was going through because I kept it to myself. But when I got off of Zoom, what did I do when I felt tired, drained? Did I drive myself harder? Or did I look at the fact that this is a time for a break? I've done what I needed to do for the day. I can't do more than that. There aren't enough hours. Take a deep breath. I have to admit, I did this at 2 o'clock this morning. So I had to
I know,
accept
you were
that
up
you
late.
can't do more. You have to stop. Give yourself that rest. Wake up in the morning. And today I was power charged. I flew through what I needed to do because I'd had a good rest. Even if it was a bit later, I sleep a little bit later so that I just shift my track. So that when I'm working global, I'm still giving myself the right time, still giving myself exercise, fresh air, just not necessarily in the same hours I was used to working in the local market. So that's really my thoughts on positive self-care, gratitude, and self-compassion.
You have to have self-compassion for yourself, man, because nobody else is, right? You have to be compassionate to yourself. So what are some of the typical challenges we all face that we need to pay more attention to? Triggers.
Well, really, we tend to get like really good into a pattern. You know, when we've got a good support system, we're surrounded by like-minded people like here. And the incubator as well, we tend to have a community of people around us. So it makes it quite easy to start getting yourself into the habit of exercising regularly, because when you come into the incubator, somebody's chatting that they just came from the gym. Cassie's chatting that she's just done 1,455 steps in half an hour. So what it does is it entices you to up your game. But now something happens. Let's talk about Janine's and my recent pain, which went over the last 2 to 3 months with the hectic power cuts. It just suddenly would happen, throw us off course, no opportunity to catch a balance. And what happens when it throws you off? Immediately you start thinking, oh God, this is all these things. Now I can't work. Now I'm not going to earn an income. Now I'm not going to be able to service my clients. How are the people in Los Angeles going to think of me, this silly little Joburg South African chick who's trying to climb into the foreign professional market and look bigger than life? You know, oh God, it's going to ruin my reputation before I've even gotten out there. So all of these things start building up in your mind. And what happens? You start getting desperate, because now what were they doing with the power cuts? 3 lots of 4 hours in one day with like a gap in between. Oh my goodness, there's the power again. Now you really start getting desperate because you're sitting on week 3. Your meetings, you've had to cancel most of them because you just go in the power cuts. So you're starting to get intensely stressed inside, and it starts to build. So what do you need to do when you're sitting in that space so it doesn't become a problem and start detrimentally affecting your business? You need to stop and take a breath and realize, wait a minute, I can't control A, B, C, and D. But what can I do? I can make sure that I communicate. So as long as I let everybody know the moment the trouble hits the fan with an email, look, I can't do this. Can we move it? You're keeping yourself in a positive mindset. You are troubleshooting. And when you can see that things are moving forward, you don't get caught up in the negative spiral. So that is the challenge. When somebody dies in your family, somebody's hijacked, somebody burgles your house, it violates your personal space. It throws you off track. You struggle to find a balance. You struggle to think. You can't think out the box. You can just barely focus on one step at a time. So it's really a case of when you hit that point, be aware of it. Be conscious that now you need to just take a little bit of care and watch what you're thinking. Catch yourself when it goes out of too far. Change it on itself. Find people to help you and encourage you and inspire you. Find a YouTube video. I'm obsessive about Anthony Robbins since my 20s, when I just couldn't move forward and things fell apart, and I would find myself an Anthony Robbins video or something that inspired me, maybe a book or an excerpt, and that gave me the opportunity to realize, but wait a minute, there's hope. I mean, my favorite story of Anthony Robbins is the fact that he used to wash his dishes in a bath, and that's what was his transformative experience. So last year in December, when I was focusing on my new year, I looked at washing my clothes in the bath and I thought, it's not going to stay like that forever. And last week, my washing machine arrived. Woohoo! So the future is bright. It's just a case of one consistent step after each other and maintain your headspace, a gatekeeper in your mind, like Anthony Robbins calls it. Put a gatekeeper to watch what you're thinking and see if you can stop yourself from talking before you've thought first. Then you won't be spewing negative criticisms, judgments, and the wrong things, because when you hear it, you program it more. When it's just in your head, it's only there. So try and stop it when it's in thought.
You know, it's good to be on your toes and think about that. And it's also good. I know in the last couple of years, I've started practicing manifestation and meditation, and it's really transformed my thought process. I try to go out in the morning, listen to my chimes when the wind's going, and with my tea, and do some breathing, and try to, you know, focus on what does my future look like and how I'm going to get there, not what isn't working now, right?
Yeah.
What, you know, who am I going to be 5 or 15 years from now? What does that look like? And that's my goal.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get there by God.
Absolutely.
So, you know, and I try at night, I do that too. You know,
Yeah.
I try to refocus. So I try to begin and end my day with that refocus, or before we go on a Zoom call, or before we go to a networking event or something, is, you know, just trying to spend time breathing, thinking, clearing, so your energy is communicative, not bouncing all over the place, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it helps a lot. Are there any little tips or tricks that you can share with us that make it easy for everybody to apply in their daily living?
Yes. If you, I know this is a well-spoken of fact everywhere you go, that the people that you surround yourself with are the people that define you. And if there's one thing that I have proved to myself, if nobody else, that by surrounding myself with people that made me up my game, so I couldn't play small, they don't allow me to. They make me play big. They make me expand my boundaries. They make me try harder. And because most of them are something I have to excel to achieve where they are, it is pulling me forward like the tip of an arrow. And that's what you need. You need to surround yourself with people who match your energy, match your focus, match your values, so you can grow and build and create together like we were made to do in this physical existence. So that's my last tip.
That is so true. Oh my God, Natalie. I'd say about 2 years ago, I had 2 girlfriends. I introduced them. We had both been friends individually for years and years and years, and almost inseparable. Through the pandemic, they hung out at my house. You know, we shared cooking dinner, and we hung out by the pool and whatnot. But they never supported me. They don't want change in their life. And I just really sat back and watched, and the pettiness and the constant griping and complaining about everything. I mean, everything. And I said, you know what? I can't. This is suffocating me.
Yes.
This negative energy. And I'm trying to flip a switch on my life and move forward. I got to get rid of them. And I did. And it's not the first time in my life I've cleaned slates.
Yeah.
I've had to do it a few times in my life. And sometimes you have to do that. We go back to what Margaret was talking about, boundaries.
Yes.
Right? You have to know if, yeah, right, Carolyn? These people aren't good for me. They're negative nannies, and I don't want them around me. I don't need that in my space.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I gotta show up in sunshine every day. I'm not going to be like trying to fight through the clouds of crap that everybody is spewing around.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
It's almost like if you look at it from the perspective of what do people do when they put you on a diet system or something, everybody always starts off with a detox and a cleanse. So you're really detoxing, cleansing, and clearing out what's going on in your surrounds. So you're actually setting yourself up to thrive successfully and really enjoy living, because
Absolutely.
that's what we deserve, and you can create it. You just have to have the right intent.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's a good, whoops, where'd we go? There you are. I lost y'all for a minute. That's a good segue to go and speak about laws of attraction with Carolyn.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I am just cheering here. Honestly, I know that what we're discussing here is absolutely critically important to every human being, men, women, teenagers, and there's so many people that are suffering right now in the world, and each of us are really stepping up here to contribute our purpose, our passion, our strong, enthusiastic beliefs and solutions. And I just really want to acknowledge Margot. I taught business planning for 15 years. I would not let anybody put a butt in a business plan. There you go, girl. Whoop, whoop. And Natalie, honestly, self-talk, it is absolutely critical in really creating that path to peace.
Yeah.
And, for me, I'm on a mission right now. I've been on many missions, in the years past, but the one that I'm absolutely committed 100% is to bring people, it's really to wake people up to love as your great prospering power. And what I mean by prosper, I don't mean just financial abundance. It is our prospering power. It's the most magnetic energy that we can invoke to magnetize and bring to us our greatest dreams, our greatest visions for the future, and also the greatest joy that we can experience in life. And, I just have witnessed business. I love business. I've been in business for 40 years. And I call it the grand adventure of human potential, because we all have it. Whether you are serving in a business, or if you're serving as a grandmother, or if you're serving as an aunt or an uncle, or if you're serving as a child to support your family, it is this concept of being conscious, being consciously aware of how I'm showing up in the world.
So
I look at, what's that?
Go ahead. I was just going to dive in on that. I said, how do we know how to show up? I mean, what do we need to do to show up for ourselves and honor that?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's what you just said. First of all, we have to show up for ourselves. It's exactly what Natalie's doing. It's what Margot's talking. Every one of us is going to have this theme and thread in the fabric of what love is. I feel in my birthday's next month, I'm going to be 64. And now I am just realizing that I am finally showing up for myself. In the last 2 years, I have learned to honor myself. I am this kind, grand giver my whole life. So I will serve everybody and serve my family, the communities that I teach and lead. Yet I forgot about one person, really, and that would be myself. Mm-hmm. So, Margot, I've set up boundaries that are like Fort Knox, honestly. So I run a virtual networking organization that's very successful with thousands of people. And I've told my business partner, if she wants to meet me or have meetings before 9:30 a.m., it's no. Well, what about this? And this international speaker usually speaks to 30,000 people. And I said, thank you for asking. Still no. I get up at 5:30. My rituals have changed my life, people. So even if you just take this piece and run with it, I guarantee you your life will change. So here's my rituals for the morning. It's exactly what Natalie said. As soon as my brain wakes up, like as soon as I am conscious that I am awake, the first second I go to gratitude, and I list a minimum of 20 things. So sometimes I venture off into planning and I go, whoop, whoop, Carolyn, come back. So I continue with the gratitude. As soon as my feet hit the floor, I drink 20 drinks of water. That's the first thing, hydration. Next thing, I have my beautiful Nespresso machine, Nespresso coffee. I love it. And I have that, and I write to my pen pal. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages that I've written to my pen pal, and it's dearest God. I write about the wisdom I am learning about life and leadership and listening to my internal voice of wisdom. I write about gratitude. I write about my life lessons and what I've learned. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to put all that into a book soon. But I call it my pen pal. And it's how I set up my day, grounded, focused, and grateful. The next thing I do is I take my four-legged friend Tucker with me on a hike and a jog. So exercise needs to be in there, I think. And then I do yoga for 20 minutes to 30 minutes with Yoga with Adrienne. I love this woman. I dream of meeting her one day, but she has led me and guided me every day for the last 2 years. And then I get beautified, and then I go to work. That sets up my day. So energy is like, my energy is so grounded and so expansive that I can share the love that I have for people all day. And I'm on Zoom a lot, all day. So here's the other truth, is that we need to learn how to love ourselves. I honestly, I mean, I love my children, my family, my dog, yet the same love I have for them, I now have for me. And thank you, God, for that. So to me, it's all about the love.
You know, we've got to focus on loving ourselves. That's just, we have to love ourselves first anyway. You've heard that growing up. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to be worth a flip to anybody else in your life.
Here.
But we spend so much time focusing on growing that business, or focusing on the kids, or focusing on our marriage, and we don't take the time for ourselves. So I think it's beautiful. I think you and I have talked about this before, how you just don't talk to anybody before a certain time of the day. It's all about you. And I think that's beautiful.
Well, I'm honest with myself. I mean, honestly, I had to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
I would make everybody more important than me. This is truth, people. And I mean, it is the truth. We have to show up for ourselves. Here's my other tip. This changed my life. And it's so simple. It's just hilarious. So I don't have the piece of paper here, but I just took a little piece of paper on a thing like this, put a line down the middle. And on the left-hand side, I wrote every single thing that I love to do. I mean, that I just really love to do, that what I love to experience. And I listed that. On the other side, I put what I'm willing to let go, to lead. So that other side wasn't quite as long as the love to do, yet I gradually, and I thought, is this nourishing me? Do I love doing this? No, put it on the list. Mm-hmm. So I have a virtual assistant that's taken over 50% of my business right now. And I'll tell you the other secret is you have to be really clear on what you want. I created a whole description for her before she even showed up. I thought, who do I want? I want someone who understands universal energy, vitality, that understands how we can attract to us what it is that we greatly desire in our life and our business. So I created core values, the meaning of them. I had her description completely done. She showed up at a Grand Connection event and was on the little Zoom square there. And I went, who are you? She said, my name's Marielle. And I said, I'm going to meet with you. And she's been supporting me for over 6 months now.
That's awesome.
You got to be clear though. And here's the other piece. You have to have a really delicious, yummy, inspiring vision. And your heart, your soul, and your spirit needs to just be wrapped around that. And it has to be defined designed and declared. And you need a dream team around you. It's exactly what Natalie said, to help you manifest it. And you tell them what this dream is. And when you lose sight of that dream, they will be a great big mirror and shine it right back to you. Oh, but Carolyn, you said, oh, that's right too. I do. Okay. Yeah. So it's not about being alone here. This is one of my major positions too, is we have to do it in a community, whether it be one other person or a community that can love you, that can encourage you, that can support you to take the next step. Even if you're stuck, their love, but also you need some people in your community that'll kick your butt. I mean, where's Cassie? You know, the event I just got off. Well, it's the truth. You got to be accountable. If that's what you say that you want, we'll support you to do that. Right? Yeah. I love it.
So what are the steps that you think are out there to attract our big dreams in the future? Like we're talking about how to show up for ourselves so we can move forward, and how you misplaced all those things you don't like to do onto somebody else that you manifested and she showed up.
Yeah. So, honestly, I think it's time to look in the mirror. You have to tell yourself the truth. What is. So what's working and what isn't working? You have to tell yourself the deep truth. So what are you tolerating? It's bouncing back to Margot there. You need to take your life and you need to look at it, and you have to be all in 100%. And it takes courage. It really does. And, the other thing is that you absolutely need, I think, to define the cost of not following through. So, I mean, this is really powerful. It has been for me within the last year. So what is the cost of me not going after my big dreams and really, really what I deeply desire? Well, you have to know what that is. You really do. And then I've got this quote I want to leave you with. And I love James Allen. He is an author from the 1920s. He wrote a book called As a Man Thinketh. There's so many great nuggets in there. And in my Inspired Business Blueprint group that I'm leading right now, which is a mastermind group in business, bringing love back to business and systems and processes. This is one of my members. She has this on her LinkedIn profile, and her name is Christian Maurer, and she is all about teaching people how to do vision boards and design that beautiful life and dream. So here's the quote: "The vision that you glorify in your mind, the ideal that you enthrone in your heart, this will build your life. By this, you will become." James Allen. That says it all. It's wrapped up into a beautiful bow.
That's nice. I like that. I'll definitely have to look that up. Definitely. So I know you are already pretty much talked about this, but establishing that dream team really helps you alleviate that personal stress so you can focus more on your business. So that was a conscious thing that you had to build in your mind to do that. How long did it take you to get that done?
Honestly, I just perked at it. This is the way I do things. It comes to my awareness that this is really, really what I want. I honestly decided that I was willing to let go. So here's the thing. Here's a great book. I've listened to it. I always have it here because I like to recommend this book too. It's called Letting Go, and it's called The Pathway of Surrender by, let me see if I can get it there, David R. Hawkins. This is the most beautiful book. I've listened to it 3 times on my hikes with my dog. And every time I've just finished the third round, and I swear I didn't hear some of those things the last 3 times. So it's about letting go to lead. So I knew that I had to really decide what support I was going to receive. And this concept of letting go of control, it makes more space for grace and freedom. And it allows each of us to be in what I call this flow foundation, which is energy generating and fueling. So once, and it took me a few months, I thought, what do I really want here? Oh, that. Do I want to let, yes, I want to let go of that. Oh, that drains me. Oh my goodness. But it's creating a dream team around you. It includes support. It includes encouragement. It includes logistics. It includes all the areas. So you can have time and space to do what you are meant to do here, to serve the world, honestly. Each of us, the world, it needs us more now than ever, I believe. And we all have to step up to make a difference.
We absolutely do. We do. And again, great ideas on how to get your mind to focus on what that looks like, right? Because you really do have to free up your personal thoughts and get them out of the way when you're looking at your business too, because we're all here because we're growing our businesses, right? So when you can get rid of the garbage and start learning what you want to do going forward.
Well, you know what I think? This is what I know. I don't just think it. I know that when you have a vision that sizzles your soul, and I know Janine has this too, because she does. When you have a vision, your brain, your thoughts, don't get distracted by all those negative self-talk. It doesn't. It fills with juice and joy and inspiration. And then, you know, you're listening to that internal voice of wisdom that says, contact that person, follow up with that. Ooh, I'd like to speak at that event. Ooh, that sounds exciting. I'm going to go on that trip. So it's allowing that space so you can hear the truth about what you're being guided to do, to show up and be all that you can be.
Very well said. Anybody else have any comments?
I'd love to know what Archie thinks.
Yeah.
I think you say a lot. It's really funny to listen to everybody because you're all saying basically what I do and what I think. We're using different terms, different ways, different things. It's really interesting to see from different perspectives. We are all working towards the same goals.
We are.
When we're helping people, we are helping them. Yeah, and it's just amazing to hear just the different ways of saying it. I think a lot of us just a lot of our clients have just lost the ability to have any positive thoughts in their heads at all. So they're filled with this negativity that just takes time for me to let go, break down, depending on your techniques you use, and leave it behind. As far as I'm concerned, you can leave that behind. We may want to break it down, and then because the brain can't tell the difference between imagination and reality, the fake it till you make it works so amazingly because that is what it is. We fake things. If we have the skill set and we can dream it, we can do it, and that's
Absolutely.
That is the way I think it has to be. Yeah,
Me too. And you know, it for me, it's about the love, because you got to love the dream.
yeah.
And if you love something, you're willing to do whatever it takes. Like my son just moved to a completely other city. Did I love him up before he left?
Yeah, I bet you did.
10 hours away. I did. Every single detail.
Yeah.
And when he left, it was beautiful. Can I just end with one thing here, Sherry? Because it's a really cool thing. So my mentor gave me this key when I was 18 years old. Her name is Emma. And she told me that this is the key to opening all doors to every dream that you have in your heart. Okay. She also gave me, when I was 18, this piece of wood. And this piece of wood is carved into a chain. It is carved from one piece of wood. and it's
That's
all
amazing.
linked. And it's exactly what you said, Archie. We are all connected. We are all connected as one, I believe. And that when we create a ripple, when we become more confident, when we share more love, when we make a difference, it affects everyone in the world.
Yeah, and I think at the moment there is a definite change in however you want to call it, super consciousness, the universe. We are creating a ripple because there's more and more people are actually beginning to believe what we know when we're born, but we're conditioned by society to unlearn. And we're now opening ourselves up, and we are opening ourselves up to all this, and it's going to. I think it is going to be the thing that eventually does change the world. The ripple's becoming a wave, and hopefully one day it'll become a tidal wave and it'll sweep away an awful lot of the negativity within this world.
Here,
So,
here.
yeah.
Beautifully said. Oh my goodness. And it's for other generations. It's for my kids, their kids, their kids' kids. And what we do here will change that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I believe change is in the air all over the world right now. And next up, I'd like to ask Janine, being a successful entrepreneur, you've worked with thousands of professionals, empowering them with confidence to show up in the right light, so to speak. So what does that look like for you?
Thank you so much, Sherry. You know what? Presenting yourself depends on how you feel about yourself. How can you carry yourself? Without that genuine confidence, you'll present yourself with having a lack of a positive self-image, right? Believing in yourself. How many times have we heard that tonight? Believing in yourself and living with more confidence can improve your personal life as well as your professional life. Can you imagine that? Sometimes it's not what you say to people, it's what your body language or your current saying, you know, it plays a massive role. And it's all about the level of comfort you have with yourself. So get to know yourself, get comfortable with yourself, and have a positive attitude. Project positive body language. Carry yourself with pride. Be polite. Present yourself well in terms of hygiene, appearances, color, the dress of your color, the dress of your jacket, and be kind to others. And most importantly, to yourself. You have to see yourself to see others. Hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. So like posture and everything is like how you carry yourself. It also instills that, you know, people want to be around somebody that's positive and there, present, standing upright, and, you know, happy. You attract people, right?
Exactly. Exactly that. Now, showing up as your best. How do we do that? It's sometimes very, very difficult because self-confidence, it's one of the biggest reasons many people suffer because they're unhappy with physical features or all their features for that matter, which is so untrue. We are all amazingly beautiful. And it's the little things. How tall do we feel? I'm too short. No one's going to listen to me. I'm too loud, like Margot said earlier. Who cares? You should be loud and proud about it, right? Adding a bit of extra height will automatically help you feel more confident. You know this. If you put on that beautiful pair of high heels, girl, you can rock this world, right? Insoles. It's the silly things, right? Rather than actually growing taller yourself, get yourself some inner soles. Invest in them because it will increase your height. It will help with the comfort of your shoes and how you walk. Small things. So high heels for women, it's the same. It's true of high heels. And as an added bonus, these are also make for women to stand taller and improve their stride. You can't shuffle in heels. need to know what you're doing, right? Can you imagine that shuffle with heels? Oh, goodness me. Can only be fun. We've mentioned exercise before. Exercising and eating healthier. For men, bulking up will make you feel more commanding and confident. At the same time, men who are conscious about their weight should do cardio training and avoid fatty foods to get themselves feeling leaner. So, question, are you exercising enough? Are you eating healthier? Are you trying at least? For women, toning your abs and tightening your behind can make you feel sexier and that can definitely improve your profile. Listen to this. Now, more than 60% of US women do not engage in the recommended amount of physical activity. More than 25% of US women are not active at all. That is quite a big percentage. Physical inactivity is more common amongst women than men. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So let's talk about putting your best face on. Haircut. For men, it will be facial hair. Dyeing hair. For women, it will be makeup. So if you think of a haircut, firstly, make sure that you get a haircut that actually suits your face, the shape of your face. It's not always the shorter the hair, the brighter the eyes. No. The squarer your jaw, the more rounded cut will fit your face, and vice versa. Well, that's the general rule. I'm not a hairstylist whatsoever, so please do not quote me on this. But think about it. Think about it. A simple haircut can change so many things. And for men, if you're a male, facial hair, it can sometimes really improve your looks. I mean, look at Archie. He looks fantastic. Look at him. It's the small things, right? Dyeing your hair. You might also want to try dyeing your hair to see if another color actually suits you better. Now, don't go wild and make it bright pink. Unless it fits your personality, go for it. Go for it. Go, unicorn. Do you. Do you. And makeup. Women have the benefit of being able to enhance their features with makeup. But sometimes makeup is actually not right for your face. So be careful, but be kind with yourself when you start doing these things. And grooming, oh my goodness. We should make sure we groom properly, including moisturizing of all things in life. Trimming your hair. Use whitening toothpaste if that is something that's bothering you. Because we love to see our teeth. We want to smile because there's nothing more beautiful than someone smiling back, right? It's 2 words, be kind. For instance, glasses. Wear a nice set of glasses or a cool pair of sunglasses, which can improve your face and make you look intelligent. I mean, look at Carol. She's like, oh my gosh, I own this space. Right? It makes a difference. Go to a spa for men and for women. Having someone attentive to your needs, being pampered and coming away, or rather going away, feeling so great. These are all things that will make a huge impact on how you feel and how you present yourself. When was the last time you saw something truly remarkable that actually changed your perspective? Whether it's looking through a telescope, going on a hike, like Carol said, taking her 4-legged fur kid on a hike, try find those moments of awe. Because sometimes we don't. We look at the sun and we're like, yeah, it will be up tomorrow. Okay, but the sunset, how beautiful is that? Where's that place taking you? Keep that space in your mind. Going on a holiday or a trip can really, really change your environment and can also obviously help you to overcome bad habits. We talked about habits before. We have to be in the zone to change those habits, right? What gets you into that zone? Make sure that you teach your beautiful mind to stay in that zone to overcome bad habits. Now, I don't know about all of you, but I absolutely love nature. And the healing power of nature is just mind-blowing. I know. Another amazing way is the environment can change your feelings. And, spending time in nature, going for a walk in nature can have a similar effect. Triggering a reduced heart rate and a sense of calm, right? Because you're in nature. Look at the tree, admire that tree. Admire the plant, the flower. We are more creative when we are relaxed, right? Think about it. Think about it. If you can tidy and organize the space around you, then you can trigger huge changes in your mood, your efficiency, the way you come forward in front of other people. Oh, the list just goes on and on and on.
You're talking about your personal space now, right? Because that's your environment that we actually live in or work in. Like, this is my home office, right?
Correct.
When I leave, I close the door, but I want it to have a certain feeling of confidence for me, as well as my house, right? So that's important just as much, right?
Exactly. It's the small things. If you move a chair this way when it was looking that way, it might change the whole room. You don't know that until you do that. And it's like that saying, it's impossible until it's done, right? It's that. It's those things. And if you are presenting yourself with confidence, oh my goodness, you can pull out and do pretty much anything. How amazing does that not sound? You can do anything. So yeah, that is my spiel about showing up as the best you.
Well, thank you, Janine. That's wonderful. I think our environment and our personal care as far as presentation really does shed light on how we look and feel, right? So, and another part that's really important, of course, is nutrition. So many of us take our health for granted. So much of the time we really should step back and put time on our calendars for ourselves. Like you did, Carolyn, you blocked out the first 4 hours of your day. It's all about you, right? We have to do that because we get busy, we drive through our day, all of a sudden we're back-to-back meetings, we haven't had lunch. By the time dinner comes around, we're like feeling like crap, and we're still trying to show up as our best selves, and you can't, right? So just like Natalie was saying too, the proper amount of sleep, you got to have it. 7 to 8 hours is really important because our metabolism isn't working at its highest and best if we don't get the proper amount of sleep. You'll notice low energy, clarity of mind works slower, focus is affected. Good night's sleep is not negotiable. Find whatever works for you to get a better night's sleep. One of the best things you can do is turn off the blue light at least an hour before you go to bed. No more phones, no more TVs, no more YouTube. Turn it off. I always say grab a book, something that's a feel good or motivational, not a horror, not a murder mystery, because that's what your thoughts are when you're dozing off, right? You don't want to take those to bed with you.
No,
So
exactly.
I actually have always had a hard time sleeping until the last couple of years. And I discovered this app that I think we're going to drop into the chat too. It's called Sleep Well. It's a Sleep Well channel and it's on Prime. And I found the one that's thunderstorms and rain hitting leaves outside somebody's window with thunderstorms. I turn that on before I go to bed and I'm out, no lie, in 2 minutes. And I tell myself, because again, when we were talking earlier about what do you do to center yourself at night, someone told me to do this and I do it every night. I take a deep breath and I throw all the energy from the day out to the universe so I can bring back peace and purity. I
I
take
love
another deep breath, and I lay in bed and I listen to the rain washing on these leaves, and I think this is God's way of cleansing our earth. So when we get up in the morning, we have a fresh start to start this right all over again. And that just gives me a sense of such tranquility and peace. I think that's why I drop off now inside 2 minutes. So find something that works for you, man. I'm telling you, it's wonderful. The next thing that's so vitally important, and a lot of people don't even think about it, they just think food is food. Nutrition is a huge part of how we care for ourselves. It's partly because our diet impacts us and our moods, not just our looks and how we feel, but the complete energy levels, our moods, it's all directly related, right? For instance, foods that contain vitamin C will improve your mood because they provide an influx of serotonin. Foods high in zinc, magnesium, and vitamin D, among others, can help to increase testosterone production, which in men and women is closely linked with enhancing our mood, our energy, and our drive. So that's really important. Foods and high processed sugars cause low level inflammation. It's modulated through the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines, which can also affect our brain. Again, here we go with the mood and the energy. Brain inflammation is a lot of reason when you're feeling that. You know how they said after COVID, we all had the brain fog? It's real. I don't know if y'all experienced it, but I did. You know, simple sugars. People get up and they have their coffee with their cream and their sugar and they have a donut. By 10 o'clock, they crash, right? It negatively impacts our gut. And it also means that it feeds on the bad bacteria that lives in our guts and it starves the good one. And that in turn has a big impact on our mood and our energy. But again, it spikes our sugar and our insulin, and then it dissipates and it just crashes. Then you're back looking for something else to snack on, and you're going to the vending machine, or you're going to that sugary snack. That's not how we get through our day. Like Carolyn said, hydration is the number one thing you need to do. I always say eat the rainbow. I start my day off with a couple cups of tea, and then I go to my smoothie. Bananas, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, vegan chocolate protein powder, super greens, kale, apple cider vinegar, and a little bit of aloe vera juice. And it gives me energy to complete my whole day. And I call it my antioxidant shake, right? Because you want to drive that about yourself so you have that right energy. So watch what you're eating. Something else I try to do is Sundays, take a couple hours on a Sunday to plan my week. So I'll make some good salads, easy to prepare. So if I do only have a half hour between meetings, I have time because it's already made to eat a healthy meal. If I'm on the road, I pull over where there's shade and have a picnic. Don't go through the drive-through. Change my life stopping going through the drive-through. Eat more fruits, nuts, vegetables, yogurts, healthy treats. And it'll make you feel better mentally and physically. When shopping, stick to the outside aisles. Keep all the fresh food. No processed, no prepackaged. It's gonna change your life. The cleaner you eat, the healthier, the better. Also, something else you might want to consider. We can't eat 8 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables a day that are recommended. Even if you're retired, sitting around, not doing anything all day, you're not going to eat 8 or 11 servings of fruits and vegetables. So you have to have good supplementation to drive that extra oomph that you need in your diet. So do make sure you are taking supplements that are high quality and high absorbency rates, because you want to get your antioxidants in your body high so you're protected on a cellular level from COVID, heart disease, diabetes, all of that. And again, we were talking about exercise, right? A training routine is so imperative. Like you said, if you're carrying a little bit extra weight, you need to do more aerobic style or high impact cardio work. If you're trying to cut down your caloric, eat clean. I don't even count calories. If you eat clean, you don't need to count calories, right? If you're thinner, you might just need more reps with less weights. You know, slow reps work best for building up and toning and giving you strength, and add some more protein to your diet. I enjoy, like Carolyn does, I enjoy yoga. I like Pilates, yoga, Tai Chi, things that are relaxing and give me movement and flexibility. I'm not into that high impact stuff. I like things that bring me peace and still are beneficial to my body. But as long as you implement something at least 5 days a week, 20 to 45 minutes, it'll, make time to care for yourself. It'll be good. Find something, the most important thing is find something that you enjoy, because you'll stick to it. If you go and start running and that doesn't bring you joy, don't run. Maybe a fast brick walk. Maybe you're right around the block on your bike. Go to the park, take your dog, take a friend. I always find I enjoy walking with a friend. I always go further, and I don't even realize how far we've gone because we're chatting and we're spending quality time with them, right? It's so much easier with a workout buddy or a walking buddy or anything. So find something like that. It's really, really important. Anybody want to add to that?
Yeah, if I may. Oh, you can go, Carol.
Oh, I
Carol,
just,
you can go.
I just think that committing to honoring yourself, and with that accountability you're going to walk with, just make sure that you make that commitment with them to be accountable to each other when you start.
Absolutely.
And to share with the other person how you want to be encouraged when you want to pack it in and not go.
I used to have a girl that lived like the next street over, and we would go at 5 o'clock. And if I wasn't at her house at 5 o'clock, she was calling me. And it took me about 15 minutes to get to her. And then we'd go and walk 2 miles. We'd come back, have our coffee, and have a little time together. And then I'd walk back home, get ready to go to the office. So it really does make a difference. I have a neighbor here I walk with a few days a week. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, Sherry, I wanted to mention something came to mind when you were talking earlier about that women also need to have a healthy amount of testosterone and how it can help them. There's a YouTube video, not a YouTube video, a TED Talk on YouTube video. And this was scientifically tested. They took men and women, but mostly women, and tested the amount of testosterone they had in their bodies. Then they had them stand in the Wonder Woman pose, where you stand feet on the ground with about 18 inches apart, fists on your hips, shoulders back. You do that for 120 seconds, 2 minutes. And then they tested the testosterone, and it was significantly higher. And at one time, I remember right after I had seen that, I was called in. I was working at a place where I wasn't very happy anyway, but I was called in, and I knew it was going to be extremely unpleasant. So I got to the building, I went into the bathroom, I went into one of the stalls, and I did this. And I was able to say things in that meeting that I don't think I might have been able to say if I had not done that. So it's not exactly on target with what you were talking about, but when you brought that up, I said, these people need to know about the Wonder Woman pose. It works for men too, by the way.
Well, I think that's great. I mean, we're talking about how we show up for ourselves, the positive attitude. Whatever it takes to get in that proper mindset, it might be pumping up your attitude and your power, or it might be centering yourself, whatever works for you, right?
But again,
on the meeting.
and that can have a psychological change, but this actually, they measured physiologically, it changed the hormonal structure 120 seconds in your body. So
that's amazing.
Cool.
Science is really starting to delve down in simple strategies of healthcare. It really is.
Yes.
Hence why I take a functional approach to everybody's healthcare, because we don't need medicines to make us better. We just need to eat right, live right, and have the right mindset.
Right. Right.
Absolutely. So our next panelist is my friend Archie here. Archie, we've worked together in the past, and I have so appreciated our time together. What are some of the issues you find with your clients that are struggling with when it comes to caring for themselves?
I think one of the big things with all the clients is we've talked about it so much tonight is they don't love themselves. They really have not let that happen with their lives. And they need to start to think of ways of how to make themselves love themselves. A lot of them have given up the sport. They've given up even talking to people. I mean, I get clients right from they're just about to jump off the bridge type clients right through to just people who want more confidence. But the ones that are bad, I preach what I call the 3 Ps to them all the time. That's positive actions, interactions, and thoughts. And it's all been covered tonight. Positive actions, exercise, because we get that buzz. They come away with a buzz. And that's one of the first things that a lot of people stop doing when they start to get depressed. What do? They stop going to the gym. They stop going out playing a game of golf. They stop doing that walk. They stop taking the dog out. They just throw it in the back garden. And that's what they do this. We need to get that back into their lives. So positive actions is easy. Positive interactions is tonight. We're all buzzing with serotonin. It's just buzzing because we're all talking, we're all being happy. And a lot of people again give that up. They give up talking to people. Oh, I can't be bothered going out. Oh, yeah, I can't. To have to go and see. I can't be bothered getting that cup of coffee. So that's the kind of things that happens there, and that's so you get them to start just going for a cup of coffee. And because the way I work would be, I would actually, if I was working with a client, I would make that as real as possible for the client. So I would go to the client, when are you going to go for a cup of coffee? Who are you going to go to the cup of coffee with? What type of coffee are you going to have? What time of day is it? When are you going to ask the person? I go over it and over it and over it so it becomes real. So in the back of their head, there is this thing that 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning, when they walk down the stairs and the old things kick in and the anxiety kicks in, the brain whips off and looks for a solution. The primitive mind's looking for a solution, which before would have been stay at home, now goes, hang on a second, it's Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. We go for a coffee. And more often we feel great about it when we've had that cup of coffee. And that's one of the things I try and teach people is call it fake it till you make it. Call it just imagine and you can do. Imagine it, dream it, and you can do it. And I think that's one of the big things we've forgotten and we've sort of, it gets talked out of us as kids. You can't do this. You can't do that. And we need to get that can do attitude back into people. And I think that's one of the biggest things we really need to do with people is to give them back the ability to imagine the best self. And if they can imagine that best self, and that the best self is the self they will love. Because I have a lot of clients who don't even like themselves. In fact, I go as far as to say some of my clients hate themselves. And we need to get that self-love. And we've talked with everybody's mentioned loving yourself. And a lot of people think that's a negative thing. Oh, how can you love yourself up? You're not supposed to be a narcissist. No. If you can't love yourself, you're not in a position to give love to anyone else without it being exceptionally draining on you. So yeah, I think what I would suggest for every people, what I like to think I can give to people is give them back that ability to love themselves. I think we all get very tied up in day-to-day life and we start to forget about giving ourselves time, giving ourselves the time to do those 3 positives: positive actions, interactions, and thoughts. Positive thoughts is a bit more abstract, but we talked earlier about you doing affirmations in the morning. I suggest clients do a list at night of all the good things that happen. And I think that's something some people should do. At the end of the day, is do a list of all the good things that happen. but don't stop when you think you've got the list finished. Because after that is when you start to twist things. And that was shown to me very well by a client a couple of weeks ago, when she came out with, it was a really, no, I'm going to, well, what else is good that week? And she was struggling to get things. She said, oh, Sunday I managed to get the grass cut. It was sunny day and I managed to get the grass cut. 2 weeks before, she'd told me, and her list of negative things was, I had to cut the grass on Sunday. Just that change in attitude. And I thought, I've got you. It is now working. Yahoo! You've got the idea. And it's, as I say, so when you're thinking of lists of things that are positive in your life, always go for that extra 1, 2, 3, or 4. Where you're really struggling, you start to twist things round. You twist that thing, and even when you've learnt something from it, it becomes a positive. I won't do that again. It's because it's a positive way of looking something that was bad. So yeah, that's the kind of things I would look for with a client. And I like to think that as they do that, they move forward and they let go a lot of the baggage. Because again, when I work with people, I always ask them, where do you want to be when we're finished? You know, I'll ask them what they've come to me for, which may be lack of sleep, maybe depression, maybe anxiety. But the only thing I really want to know from apart from that is where they want to be. And I think that's where, and if they can visualize that and we get them start to visualize where they want to be, they will start to find how to get there. And by doing a silly little step like going for that cup of coffee, suddenly gives them back the power to go forward. The small steps in their life that make the biggest difference.
Do you find that your clients have a lot of regrets from the past, maybe that they're needing to overcome, and that might be driving this attitude? So many of us carry garbage from our past, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of clients do carry the garbage. As we said this evening, we build that up in the back of our head. We collect this. The garbage of being told we're not good enough to do this, we're not this. And every time we think about it, we basically rebuild a block of the same thing. So we need to start getting those clients to put in that place, leave that behind, but put in its place, I can do this. I will do that. This was in the past. Yep. It's very hard to leave certain big incidents behind. But if the brain's given enough space, it will clear away a lot of the emotions from that as it moves it from one part of the brain to the other. And when it does that, as a client who'd been abused as a child said to me, I can now look back in that abuse as though I'm looking in on it. I am not actually in it. I'm looking in on it. So it is no longer part of, a really badly, emotional thing. It's something that happened. And although it's never going to be pleasant to look at, but they've taken the majority of the emotion away as it's been shifted from one part of the brain to the other. So yeah, I think we need to move away from the things that's happened and just give the clients those instructions, things back. But the thing that people can do for themselves is these positive actions, interactions, and thoughts, and they're all producing all your nice little neurotransmitters, your dopamines, your serotonins, and once you get that flowing nice like a river, rather than up in the air or down in the bottom and in depression, it makes life so much easier, because if we can stay in our intellectual mind, we can be so much more focused. When we're in our intellectual mind, we will find the best decision for ourselves. We'll find that, the best way out of any problem. So it's keeping ourselves in that part. If depression, anxiety brings us into the negative, the primitive brain, then we need to get back out of that. And in some ways, we can put a little trick. We can kind of trick the brain. As I was saying, the primitive brain looks for something that's happened in the past. If we go back and think about things logically often enough, we will find that we start, without really trying, as we start to get emotionally charged and depressed or anxious about something, and we start to slip back into this primitive mind and we can't see a solution, the primitive mind itself goes, oh, hang on, we think about this. And it shoves us back up into our intellectual mind. The intellectual mind can process it and we'll find the solution. So we just give the people back those things that can, and once they've got those, they really are, it's a solution for life. You know, I see people that have been going to therapies, certain types of therapies for years, and they've never made any difference. And I think if I have a client after 3 or 4 weeks that I don't see a big change in, I'm actually looking for a different therapist for them, because I feel there's something not right. They're not working with me correctly. So yeah. So that's what I would do for a client. That's what I would think a client should do for themselves in a lot of ways. I just give them back that tool. But the big thing is this.
You help them rewire that mindset, right?
Yeah, it's like a reset. It is like a reset in the computer. You change the default. It takes time. You can make. I look at a lot of the modern therapies that are saying, "Oh, we're instant." You know, we can change that person in 1 session, 2 sessions, 3 sessions. Yep, I change clients most often within 3 sessions. But it takes 10 sessions, 66 days, apparently, is what it takes neuron bridges to form and break down. And that's what, if you can keep the brain thinking positively for that length of time, the brain will continue working like that. It's like always driving the same way to work. You don't think when you come up to a junction which way you're going to go. And that's the same way with the human brain, with all other things it does as well. If it's been making negative thoughts about things as it comes to situations, it doesn't think about it. But once you start making it think positively about situations, and you make it do that often enough, it becomes the default setting within the brain. So no matter what you throw at the brain, it will find it, it'll look for the positive rather than the negative outcome.
I think so many people don't think that, you know, you always hear, what is it, 6 weeks to create a habit. I'm a firm believer that it takes 6 months to see your changes you've made in yourself. Really, the outcome is about 6 months down.
Yeah, well, as I say, I'm just going by the neuroscience stuff I've been told is about the 66-day mark. And obviously everybody's different.
Yeah.
So some people will take less and some people will take more. And it also depends on the environment a client is in, or someone is in. If they're in a negative environment around them all the time,
right,
they've got to work a lot harder, because there's no mirroring to bring them up the way. As we were saying, surround yourself with great people and you will become great. And surround yourself with poor people, or poorly, people of a poor mental attitude, and they will try and pull you down to their level, and you will have to really struggle to stay up there. Whereas if you surround yourself with amazing people, you become amazing. Find that within families. If you're working with one particular client, you will find them. It's almost like a centrifugal effect. It will start to drag those below them up. Hubby will start to feel better. Boom, boom, boom. And then they get to a point where, one, they're being told the same tricks as what you're giving them, whatever member of the spouse, etc. They're passing them on. So the great thing is, that's what I'm saying, that's how it works. Yeah. I don't know what else to say, because everything's been said in different ways from me tonight, but they've all been said. We all believe in the same things. We all believe in, if we can think it, we can do it.
It's just getting there and trying to stay away from the negative inputs in our lives, right?
Or at least twist the negative inputs.
Turn it into a positive.
Turn it into a positive. And it's even down to the point where if it's like, I won't do that again. We can look at it back and people say to you, oh, what would you change in your life? And I turn around and say, absolutely nothing. Because I am who I am because of who I am.
That's right.
What I have done. Yep. So I'm open to anybody asking me any questions. So yeah.
So I only have one more. So how can someone become their best self and feel socially bulletproof to go out and show the world that what they have to offer and own it? What is one, I mean, we've all talked about really everything we've all talked
Yep.
about
Yep.
in together does
One
that,
thing,
right?
one thing,
What's that
Love
one thing
themselves.
that you would,
love themselves.
yes,
That's the only thing. That is the big thing. If we can love ourselves, we are bulletproof. It is our shining suit of armor. It will bounce things off us. If we become invincible.
this is
Somebody
so
who
true.
loves themselves will set the world on fire and will get every goal and every dream they ever want. So yeah, that was an easy question.
It's all about mindset, baby.
Yep.
Take care of yourself from the inside out, and it all
And everything else will fall
rainbows
along the
open
way.
up everywhere.
Yeah.
I was driving the other day and I turned around and I saw the most amazing rainbow, and I actually pulled over and just sat and looked at it and did some breathing, thanking God for that beautiful rainbow. I mean,
Yeah.
it rained somewhere,
Mhm.
and I got to witness the
You
rainbow.
got the beauty. Somebody else got the
Yeah.
rain. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to look at all the positives. So
I think that's I think that's the biggest thing. We talked about nature. Some of you know and some of you don't know, I made a positive decision 15 months ago, maybe more now, right? Probably 17 or 18 months ago now, to go on the road and discover Scotland. So I have seen those sunrises and those sunsets over water, over trees, and amongst the most amazing woods, the most amazing places throughout Scotland. And it's made my work easier because I'm coming from a place of absolute peace and tranquility within myself. So I would recommend an extended road trip to everyone. And don't say you haven't got time. You haven't got time. You can work on the road now. You honestly can. Just take that time and take that effort. I also, the side effect of realizing that nothing of a material nature meant really very much to me, because I've had basically 18 months now with a van full of stuff, and that is it. So yeah, so it makes such a difference to the clarity in your mind. But yeah,
and I've got to tell you guys, Archie and I used to meet every Thursday, and the view from his van was amazing every week. And he shuts it down Friday through Sunday and goes out in the woods or goes to the beach or goes. I think his life is amazing. My nomadic friend you are.
Yeah.
Can I add something here? So Archie,
Absolutely.
I have to tell you something.
Mhm.
So I have two screens in front of me, and it is of Scotland. I'm not sure where it is, but it's these beautiful castle with mountains. I look at it every single day. On my vision and my dream is to bring the Grand Connection, our community world tour to Scotland.
Yay.
So every single day I look at this. So we are going to meet, just letting you know, Archie.
Oh, don't worry.
And I'm going to give you the biggest hug, because I think the way that you contribute in the world is so magnificent. And same with all of us. Janine, Natalie, I'm coming to South Africa too. But honestly, what we're bringing here is so much truth and power, and just, I mean, think of the ripple effect that we're going to make from this. And I want to say to Sherry, fantastic. Good on you, girl, to set this up. And Margot, not sure where you are, but we'll include that in the Grand Connection World Tour too.
Yeah, she's in South Carolina, right? South Carolina, North Carolina, and I'm in Florida, so you can always come down to Florida.
Well, yeah. So and I just think it's so magnificent that every single person here understands what everybody else had to say, because we have the same position. I love it.
It's becoming less unusual to find people. I would have said 10 years ago, even ignoring the internet, people were not accepting the superconscious, the universe. Now people accept the universe. I mean, The Secret opened a lot of eyes, which then blinked and closed. You know,
I think COVID had a lot to do with it. I think COVID had a lot to do with it, because We were no longer in an office. We were no longer, so many people lost their jobs. We're all sitting at
Oh.
home stuck. So we had to
Yeah.
reinvent ourselves.
Hmm.
We
I
started
think
the Grand Connection when COVID hit. All I could
Yeah.
think about was all these businesses suffering.
Mhm.
We have to help them. I said, Susan, we can't sit back here. And now it's turned into our calling. I mean, it's just so cool.
It is.
Collins, yeah. As I say, we are built. There's so many things being built. COVID has been destructive force in a lot of ways, but it has brought the world together. I mean, I dread to think how many thousands of miles we are all apart, but yet we're all here. And because of the way we work, we probably are all here. Our energy, I can feel the energy from every single one of you. So it's the energy is mingling over tens of thousands of miles. Yeah. And as I say, it's just amazing how it is happening all over the world. I mean, one or two other groups, and you meet people from all sorts of places. I do a lot of work now in the States. Yeah, it does turn night into day, but that's just day into night. But yeah, that's just the way it works. But it's just great to work with. I love working with Americans. They've got a better attitude to mental health than British people. Scotsmen in particular, it's still very much frowned upon to be mentally ill. If you have a broken leg or whatever, yep, there's not a problem. But if you're off work through stress, it's still very much frowned upon within the UK.
No, it's something else. Monica, since you've popped in on us today, would you like to join in the talk and add a little something, something?
Yeah, no, today I am doing some self-care. So I've been, it's a bit quiet because all the things that y'all have been talking about are things that as I've worked myself heavily this weekend, and now I'm trying to recover from that. But everything you guys are saying is so true and so necessary to talk about. And so I'm just grateful that you guys decided to take the initiative to create these spaces. And I think the more of these spaces and these collaborative conversations that we have, the more that we reinforce, not only for people who don't know this, but for those of us who do, to remind ourselves to continue to do these types of things for ourselves and to heal as we are healing together. So just, giving you guys kudos on putting this together and having these amazing conversations.
Well, thank you, Monica. Thank you for popping in. So Cassie, Holly, do you guys have any questions or want to comment? I think we lost Mary.
Oh, I think that this entire conversation has been absolutely amazing. This has been really great. I'm not sure I have much to add to it, but I love all the talk of, self-care and just making yourself a priority, especially Carolyn. I loved how you went in and talked about how it's like that was actually something you had to teach yourself to do, because it's so true. And there have just been so many times in my life where I've had to kind of reset, go back and be like, okay, what's working, what's not working, what's working, not working. And then, okay, those things are now getting redefined again, and just reorganized. And so, but yeah, I love the full conversation. I think everybody had wonderful things to say. So this was awesome to be a
Can
part
I
of.
ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
So what's the one thing that you're going to incorporate positively in your life following this event?
I think I'm going to be more mindful about my morning, like when I first wake up, because I have a tendency to wake up and just be like, okay, let's jump in. And then I might go take a break later. But actually having that be that first thing, like I sit at my desk and I either have like my water or my drinks or whatever, but like just to start the day with that.
Yeah.
Or in those first few minutes, like, it's just things like that I'm like, it's like, oh, I thought I was doing pretty good, but I don't do that. Oh, that's a good one.
You take some Cassie time.
So I have another rule that I didn't share, Cassie. I do not touch technology for a minimum of 1 hour. I sit in silence and listen.
To the birds, to the chimes, to nature,
to
your heart.
my internal voice of wisdom, mainly. And it comes up with some absolutely great stuff. And I write it and I go, wow, that's really good. I love it. And so that's my recommendation. No phone, no iPad, no computer, no emails, none of that.
And you're talking to the tech guru. So
I know. That's why I knew I had to tell you that.
That's tough, but challenge accepted. Challenge accepted.
And can you take an hour from the technology before you go to bed?
That is something that I have been actually trying to implement, at the very least in the evening. I usually fill that time with like, snuggle kids.
Your baby.
All the things, but like, I have actually tried to, there's a chair over here. But yeah, I have really tried to, kind of at the very minimum having a sign off time and then actually trying to adhere to that, because I'm actually finding that it's like I wake up earlier and then I'm my kitten is a great alarm clock. But it's like I wake up earlier and then I actually get more done during the day, and then I can actually go to bed. Like, it's like little things like, oh, my neighbor went outside. Oh, okay, I'll go out and chat with them, or things to try to disconnect. But I don't sit in quiet for an hour, and I should. So challenge accepted.
Holly, do you have any thoughts?
Yes, I wanted to thank everybody. You guys did a great job. For me, it's more about boundaries at this time in my life. My mother has dementia, and the brothers and sisters, and just, usually only one person really takes on all that drama and everything. So right now I'm learning how to set boundaries with relationships so I can have self-care and take care of myself as well. Also clean house with some toxic, relationships, and surround myself by mindful people that, are better than me and that I can learn from. And also, the self-care, the meditation, I go to meditation, I go to church. So having peace, for those days, that I don't work and need to relax. So I think it's very important to be, have a positive attitude, have the right people around you so you can be successful and you can attain your goals, but also to take care of yourself as well. Thank you.
Beautiful. You're welcome, Holly. We loved having you join us. So we're actually going to be tying this up earlier than we thought. But so Janine or Natalie, can you drop the PDF in there? I'm going to let everybody talk a little bit about what they're giving away as a free gift today. I am actually giving away a free 30-minute health consulting session. I have a free recipe for a healthy snack, the book about self-care that this is based on. You'll be getting that as well. And of course, if you go to my landing page, you can also sign up for my blog and get a copy of my free healthy cookbook. So download this PDF, everybody. And if we'd like to go around the room and everybody share what else they're offering. I'm just going to call names from who I see here. Janine, you're first.
Yay! Just a quick one. I just want to add that, be yourself, Look after yourself and your environment, the people around you, your strengths, and the areas for improvement. And choose the things that are best for, you guessed it, you. Surround yourself with people that speaks and keeps your inner fire burning. Don't be the wax, be the light. What I'm giving away is a 45-minute free sales advisory session where I can guide you on your current daily sales routine and tweak it a little bit. Look forward to connecting with you all. I'm going to nominate someone, Natalie.
There you go.
onthespot.com. What can I say? So nice of all of you guys to join us at our summit today. It's been an exciting experience being our very first event. I felt it went very well. Incredible experts. You guys are awesome. We could probably spend hours swirling around this topic and never actually cover everything that each of you know already in the area. So for our guests today, I'm going to give you a free 30-minute consultation. A second gift I'm going to give you is access to my full color transformation meditation. It's full color as in it covers every chakra, all the colors that are depicted for your different chakras, the different affirmations for the areas, the organs that are covered by those chakras and those colors. So you're going to get a full on rebalance, recalibration from crown to root. And it's a very exciting experience. So please let me know if you enjoyed it. Then last but not least, I'm going to give you all access, free access to my 30-day email program. Gives you one message a day in your inbox that puts your head in the game. And today I'm going to give you access to the Super Achiever program so that you all can step out there and just be great.
That's awesome. Caroline?
Yep, I'm here. Okay, so a couple of things. Grandconnection.ca, or community that I love, that I lead. I welcome everybody to join us. I have a coupon Summer 1. It actually ends at midnight tonight if you want to join us for $1 for a whole month. All the events, the speakers, the mastermind, the everything for $1. So we have that. And my offer with Inspired Business is I am doing a workshop called the 5 Steps to a Conscious, Inspired Business and Life. And that's going to be in the chat. And that's from 12 to 1:30 on September the 14th. So welcome everybody to contact me. And I have an appointment that started 2 minutes ago. So I'm going to just say thank you to everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Sherry, and super awesome to meet everybody. Please reach out. And Archie, I'm coming to Scotland to give you a hug in that van. I'm telling you right now.
Hopefully I'll be more settled by then, but yes, you're more than welcome. Let's have a one-to-one anyway and a good chat. Yes.
Awesome. Thanks,
Caroline,
everybody.
thank you so much, honey. Thank you so much.
Honestly, my pleasure. It's an honor to be in everyone's presence. I feel inspired and just reminded once again what truth is and what we're committed to. So thank you to all of you. Thank you. And blessings to everyone.
Blessings to you too, babe. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, Margot, you want to go next? You're still muted. You're muted, honey.
Sorry about that.
There you are.
I wrote a e-booklet specifically for this event. So this is you people will be the first people to see it. When we're adults, it's an exciting time because we can finally start to have an equal peer type of a relationship with our parents. However, there are a lot of factors that try to make people think that, when we become an adult, then suddenly our parents are old and feeble and, can't take care of themselves. So my booklet specifically is about how to have a fruitful and satisfying peer relationship with your older parents when you become an adult. Not how to take care of them, none of that, but just how to really appreciate them and have them appreciate you and how to have that good relationship. And it'll be there. And Natalie, by the way, put together my landing page. She did a great job. So
Natalie's amazing.
yeah, you can go
Natalie
to
did
that
a great
landing
job
page.
helping me put this together. She's amazing.
You can go to that landing page and just put in your email and you will get a copy of that.
Thank you. And Archie.
Well, I will happily give a one-to-one session with anyone, including a session at the end if they so desire. I will also give them a relaxation download when I can bore anyone to sleep. So
Stop it.
so it does work. So yep, that's what my offer is. And as you've probably realized from tonight, I love talking, so I'm happy to talk to anyone. So a free session and a download. So yeah, that's what I'm offering to you.
Well, I want to appreciate all you guys that participated and joined me here today. Janine, thank you so much for giving us your time to help with the back office and to step in where we needed you for speaking. And Natalie, girl, I love you. Thank you so much. I couldn't have done this without you. And thank you, Margot and Archie, so much. And Holly, thank you so much for coming. And Monica, continue to self-care and get your rest, babe. And Kathy.
Okay, and I just want to chip in. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And if you don't mind, since it's our first event and we're always trying to up our game, please will you click on the link that I've just dropped in the chat, fill in our feedback form and give us feedback as to what your experience was like or what you'd like to see more of. Feel free to tell us every aspect, because after all, as long as we're aware of it, we can manage it, control it, and turn it into something great.
That's right. And I just want to give Kathy a shout out too. She is my super tech girl. She also saved the day on my website this past week. Love you, girl. We're a community of giving souls supporting each other. This is the good group that you want to hang out with. Everybody, thank you again. It's been wonderful. Until next time.